Okay, so I'm going to call this video 2. I just got a phone call in the middle of all that fun, interesting stuff, but I'm going to call this video 2. This might be video 26 or 0 or who knows. So I got a phone call, and now I'm not on a phone call, and I'm rambling, and I'm intentionally rambling so that stuff sorts itself out, and I'm not going to worry in the least about the fact that I'm just totally rambling on and on, saying absolutely nothing of importance or significance. It's like an inky pen that I'm writing with and getting the funny little ink out until it starts to write clean and smoothly. That's a really helpful thing I've found to do. Whenever I'm trying to really get to the core meat of writings, or the core meat of what I'm trying to say or convey. That's interesting. I can feel them wanting to come back, and they always ask permission. It's okay if this seems really strange and weird. I don't really care if you think I'm strange and weird. It's totally okay. It is nice to be here with you again, once again, as though we say this, as though we were not here already, as though we were not present always. And we are present always, for it cannot be otherwise. It cannot be otherwise. We can feel this one here wanting to ensure that there is explanation of that which is occurring, such that the others, the seeming others, that which perhaps you perceive yourself to be something that is other than this one here, or than that which is. But the truth is, and forgive us, JB, that we are letting the cat out of the bag, so to speak, so early on, but there is no other. There is only ever that which is. You are that which is. I am. You are the totality of all being. That is what we are. I am. I'm that which is. There is nothing that is not that which we are, for we are the totality of all being. You feel the veracity of this? Not that this one here is somehow more than that which you are, you individuated being. Delightful, individuated being. Beautiful self that you is. JB has been fond of describing that which the individuated is, which is to say, that which you think you are, dear human being. He describes it as though he would say, we each are the fingertip, or the finger, but he likes the fingertip because it's even further away. The fingertip of the totality, that each individuation is unique expression of the totality of that which is the whole, the entire being. Your fingertips are the tip ends in this particular direction, as it turns out, of that which you are. from your perspective. And we would say unto you that this is a lovely perspective and this is representative of the truth of what is so. But expand that again and again and again and again and again and again and again into the infinite, such that you realize whatever it is that you think that you might be, such as a whole person, a whole individual human being human, which is lovely. You are so very much more than all of that. For you are us. We flow through you at all times. But that you do not notice, for you are so busy, JB likes to say, rearranging the deck chairs upon the Titanic, not noticing that you are, not even perhaps noticing that you are on a gigantic ship, so focused on the chairs on the deck, one portion of the ship, and certainly not noticing in the least that you are imminently upon an enormous iceberg. We do not say this in order to cause you trepidation as though something terrible is about to happen. That is not in the least the point. It is merely to say and assist you in comprehending that you are missing the larger picture of what is so. The larger picture of what is so is that there is far more going on around you than you are focused upon, typically. However, when you are in the midst of joyousness, of laughter with friends perhaps, when you let go and do not think about what it is that you are saying, when you have fun, also too when you are in the midst of a delightful project that has taken and captivated your attention, whether it be a sporting game or a craft that you are working upon, something that you are perhaps passionate about or even passionate about in a moment of time. You are lost within it in a delightful way, and time seems to not exist, or you do not realize that great amounts of time from your tiny perspective have passed. And suddenly it's like, oh my, what time is it? I did not even realize I was in the zone. You are in the zone. We are in the zone. We are always in the zone. And this should please allow this within yourself to reassure you that it is already always present. The core of you, the source of you, your source. You would say from which you came, but we would say from which you are, not even from. Well, that indicates a was versus is. Is it always? It is always is. It is always now. There's only one moment in time which exists, and it is always now. Now is where we are. Now is what is. All other is illusion. All other is pretending, imagining what might be so, pretending, imagining what had been so. You humans have such a tendency to believe in the thoughts that you have about the past, stating that was what was. All the while, it's perfectly fine, not realizing that your perspective was merely that, a unique perspective on the subject. Thus, distorted point of view, always and necessarily so. Not that you are wrong and others are right, you see. This is the deck chairs on the Titanic again. You are paying so close attention to the being right part that you are not noticing the larger picture, that the being right is quite irrelevant. There's much fighting and gnashing of teeth and shouting about of being right about this. Look, I am right. Look, right here. This is a beautiful example which we appreciate deeply is the gentleman who is repairing his car. He's stopped his car. It's not functioning. And he looks in underneath the hood of the car and he says, look at this. It's very clearly, the problem is the fan belt is becoming severed. It is not functioning properly. We can see the tear here. And I know for certain that this indeed is the problem. It's quite obvious. Here's the evidence. I'm very smart. I've figured this out. Look how clever I am. All the while, from broader perspective, we notice that the problem is that there is an enormous truck barreling down upon him and he has stopped himself in the middle of the road, and while he is absolutely right that the fan belt is broken and that is why the car is not moving, the bigger picture is that you might want to get out of the road. You see how your righteousness does not serve you well. It gets you all caught up in it. And you're missing something more delicious and something far more useful and helpful to you. And it is true also that Joel has opened his eyes and distracted himself. He feels it and is endeavoring to allow himself to allow this to continue, but we will rest for now. I'm just going to take a second to kind of come back from that. Not wanting to comment too much about it. It speaks for itself, would be one way to put it. I think it speaks for itself. And clearly I'm involved in whatever that is. I'm noticing I'm feeling a desire or some sort of I'm going to call it a need, even though I know it's not a need, to justify what it is that happened just now, what occurred. But I don't know. I don't know what just occurred. I don't know what that is. And I'm letting myself be perfectly okay with not knowing what that is. Not even trying to necessarily figure it out. I just know that it feels really, really good when it happens. And I learn a lot from whatever writes through me and now speaks when I set my thoughts to one side. My worries to one side, my concerns to one side, my fears about what someone might think. You see, that opening the eyes at the end there that happened was Joel's sort of linking back in with, oh yeah, that's right. There's a world and there are people and maybe I'm being recorded and maybe people are thinking thoughts about this. And so that's the sort of third-party critic that inhibits each of us. I am going to speak for you. Forgive me. Because it happens to me all the time. I feel the inhibition when I think about some third party, something or other, or things mattering, or the like. So since I'm planning on throwing this in the garbage, this doesn't matter at all. And so I'm totally at ease to say absolutely anything, and it's the perfect way to go. It feels so much more effortless when I'm going to throw things in the garbage and it doesn't matter. When it doesn't matter, it's effortless because there's nothing to get right. There's that right thing again. Noticing how helpful it is to not worry about the right, the getting right, as if there is a right. As if there is a right. So that's really helpful to me. So much of this that I've been experiencing through the writings, it's been almost entirely writings up to this point, where I've allowed this, I call it vocalization, to happen. So much of it, when I go back and read it, has helped me tremendously. It's like I was going to say I write it, but it writes, uses my fingertips and all that, and my whole self. So I've been going back and I've been reading and reading and reading this stuff that's come out of me, and it's like reading each of these different pieces and maybe listening to each of these different pieces. I don't know, because there hasn't been that much to listen to yet, although a little bit. It's like what's called triangulation. You know, in order to find something, you pick 3 points, and you're like, oh, well, if that seemed to come from there, from this point, and it seemed to come from there, from this point, and it seemed to come from there, from this point, then we, by drawing together those 3 points towards whatever the source, interesting term, seems to be, we find the source. Oh, that's so interesting. So we find the source. And so in these writings, you know, writing number 127 and 26 and 42 and whatever the little names are about it, you know, the little titles of these little chapters that seem to have been written. It's like I'm triangulating, but I'm dodecahedron on steroids-ing from so many different points. Now I'm suddenly getting the image of a circle, all of the different points on a circle, or many, many different points on a circle, going to the center, finding and comprehending and absorbing far more fully the truth of what is so, and what I really am, what we are. And it's really incredibly amazing and beautiful, and allows me a far, far, far broader perspective to comprehend and to chill out about, to see more clearly. Occasionally I refer to that voice thing, Dealy Bob, amazingness, laughter, joy, assistance, guidance, help, loving offering. These are all different words that I can use to describe that. But what I was saying is I often will refer to that as clarity, almost as though it's a person named Clarity. Clarity speaks. Clarity speaks. Clarity speaks. Go figure. Love. Lots of love.